Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to No Final Bell. Sorry for the delays for this week. I went to Monday Night Raw and things got pushed back, but hey, at least I am here to be able to talk about AEW and Impact with Marty, of course. Um, as always, Marty, take it away
Yeah.
with Impact talk, and then we will talk about
So,
AEW afterwards.
um, there wasn't a lot that happened on this show. It's really just kind of like building towards Slammiversary. Eddie Edwards and Frankie Kazarian are having their thing continue. They had a match where Eddie beat Frankie with help from his wife. Um, so there's also a tag team tournament to like kind of figure out who's going to challenge the ABC for the Impact Tag Team titles. And there are teams like Sami Callihan and Rich Swann. And then you have teams like Moose and Brian Myers, who are like, I don't know, I didn't really like pay too much attention to that, but I know that Sami Callihan and Rich Swann took on Champagne Singh and Shira, and they beat them. Then we had a match between two hometown boys as these Impact tapings were taped at Center Stage in Atlanta, Georgia. Two hometown boys in Jonathan Gresham and Angels. Um, Jonathan Gresham beat Angels, but then after the match, Angels shakes Gresham's hand, indicating that he may have just left the design, as Diener was telling him, like, hey, don't shake that man's hand, and you don't listen to them, you listen to me, and kind of thing. But Angels is like, nah, I'm not doing what you tell me anymore. Like, I'm not doing, like, so basically, after the match, Gresham extended his hand, but Angel thought about it, and then Diener was like, no, no, do not shake that man's hand, come back here with me. And Angels was like, I'm not doing that. I'll shake your hand. Um, then we had a 2-on-1 handicap match between PCO and the Good Hand. PCO beats the Good Hand. Then after the match, Scott D'Amore beats down the Good Hand. And then Steve Macklin and Bully Ray come down to beat up D'Amore and PCO. Handcuff Scott D'Amore to the top rope, and then they double chokeslam PCO through a table and drag him backstage to set him on fire. So with that, PCO is out of the match. Um, I don't remember who Scott D'Amore got as his partner instead, but I know also that Bully Ray had to get another partner as well because unfortunately during the Impact Down Under tour in Australia, Steve Macklin suffered an injury and therefore won't be able to make it to Slammiversary. So both Scott D'Amore and Bully Ray have had to find new partners. Um, then we have Gazelle Shaw taking on Courtney Rush of the Death Dolls and beating her with the help of Jay Vidal and Savannah Evans. And then in the main event, we had the unlikely pairing of Leo Rush and Nick Aldis taking on the Motor City Machine Guns and beating them. Um, so at Slammiversary, it's Leo Rush versus Chris Sabin for the X Division title, and Nick Aldis versus Alex Shelley for the world title. Um, keep your eyes peeled for Slammiversary talk, although it might just be like what Brian does with Out of Turn 4, and it might just be a mini episode where I'm kind of just recapping everything that happened for Slammiversary. However, our main episode is strictly going to be centered around AEW Dynamite, Collision, and Battle of the Belts.
Yeah, and I mean, It's going to be a lot of AEW talk for next week's episode. Also, we're going to be, you know, for next week's episode, it's going to be all AEW talk because it's Dynamite Collision. You got Battle of the Belts right
Mm-hmm.
after a live
Right after a live,
hour after
yes.
Collision.
So it's all live.
And then, of course, the next episode we'll talk about,
Blood and guts.
Blood and Guts. So, yeah, definitely keep on top of it as we are ramping up to almost 90 episodes, ladies and gentlemen. So, yes, we got into Dynamite and Collision, but beforehand, we're going to talk about Dynamite. And it started off tonight with Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy. They are part of the Blind Eliminator Tag Team Tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And face off against former tag team champions Swerve
Even more
Strickland
shocking
and
for
Keith
the Blind
Lee.
Eliminator, if you ask me.
Of course, before the match, Swerve Strickland's coming out, Keith Lee's coming out, and doesn't even acknowledge Swerve as he walks right past him into the ring. But again, Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy are just too much for Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee, as Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland inadvertently bumped into each other and hit each other. So I kind of figured that they weren't gonna win. It would have been maybe nice to see the former tag champs just work together in a way to be able to get further in the tournament. But it's nice to see Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy, I think, in the finals now, or going to be in the finals. I think they pretty much are in the finals. I mean, we're recording on a Thursday, uploading on a Friday, and Dynamite just happened, so I would assume that they're in the finals. But a very surprising debut is going to be happening. We'll talk about that, or did happen. Nick Wayne is ready to show the world what he's made for.
From what I've seen,
from what I've seen in the little highlights.
Well, even just in general from that match, like I've seen a few highlights from the match. Like Darby Allin is not kidding. He's pretty freaking good.
I was gonna say, yeah, he is. From like all the moves that he was putting on Swerve, I think AEW found her like hidden gem in Nick Wayne, and I think he's somebody that could be the future of AEW if pushed the right way.
I look at it this way. I tell you what, the future looks bright because not only do you have Nick Wayne that they just recently signed, but you also have Billy Starks. So for the men's and the women's division in AEW, your future looks bright.
Right. So Jack Perry wants to demand the FTW title match, and then Hook tries to beat him down, but drives off. When will this match happen? I'm thinking Blood and Guts in Boston. What better time? It's pretty much like AEW's kind of like pay-per-view-esque free television event. Blood and Guts.
Well, it kind of
It's kind of like when they really
fight for the Fallen, Fighter Fest.
They kind of like stack the card for it or something like that. So I'm thinking that's what's going to happen.
That kind of leads me to ask, like, are they bringing it back?
What?
Fighter Fest, Fight for the Fallen.
Probably not. I think that's past their forte, and it sucks. It is what it is. I mean, if they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. Jack Perry could be somebody that could take the next step and win the FTW championship, even though it's not a recognized title in AEW. I would be all for Hook losing the title. I think he's held the title long enough to finally, get moving. I get it. Look at what, Brian Cage has done. Look at, what
Brian Cage is not a good example.
Ricky Starks has done after having the title, but like
I said, Brian Cage isn't a good example though, because he literally went from the FTW title to being 1/3 of the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champion.
I mean, true. At least he's
he should have honestly, Brian Cage after the FTW title thing should have went and challenged for the world title. I mean, technically, while he was FTW champion, he was, challenging, but, yeah, no, that should have propelled him more to that like spot.
Right, exactly. So we get on to our next match of the night, the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass in Trios action against the Bollywood Boys and the Blade, which was so weird how that all
Yeah.
happened. I get it, the Butcher was in the Blind Eliminator tag match, so he couldn't be out there with.
Now I
Um,
forget their like actual names because I only ever really remember them as Shamir and Sunil Singh, which is not their. It's like Garv Shira or Garv Sira and like they're the Sira brothers, not the Singh brothers. So
but yeah, ultimately there wasn't a whole lot that happened in this, but the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass do beat Bollywood Boys and the Blade. Um, but then afterwards, we hear from Harley. Harley Quinn starts talking. Apparently, we're going to be hearing from him. And then Daddy Ass says, "Suck it." Thoughts on that one? I don't know what exactly Harley Cameron has to say, but I'm sure it's got something with trying to get Bowens to, you know, hit them DMs or something like that, which is not going to happen
it's
because,
not gonna happen. That man is gay.
right. Um, So Moxley wants to see the Eddie Kingston that put the past in the past and go on into the future. Um, and also congratulations to him winning the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Never Openweight Championship.
It's
Um,
take that out. It's just the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship.
okay,
They're two separate belts. The Never Openweight and the New Japan Strong Openweight. Two separate belts.
right. But thoughts on that one? Are we gonna ever see Eddie Kingston that's gonna put the past behind him and just focus on the future? Probably not, but it would be nice to see. Moxley, I think, is thinking a little too much. But honestly, I hope this leads into a Moxley and Eddie Kingston feud for the future. I would not be opposed to it.
It may be a shot in the dark, but I feel as though what I'd like to see at least, um, now that Eddie Kingston has the belt,
Well, Moxley getting a chance at it.
either that or just Eddie Kingston defending the title on AEW.
That could
I
happen.
mean, because now, granted, Willow never quite got that chance, but at the same time, like she could have had that chance to defend the title on AEW programming.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know how New Japan feels about like their champions like defending on. I mean, even though like years and years ago, Moxley, when he was still the IWGP US champion, was defending it on Dynamite against the likes of like Yuji Nagata and like stuff like that. So I don't know if NJPW has changed their stance on that. They're like, no, we don't want you defending it on like unless it's Forbidden Door, we don't want you.
Right. I mean, who knows? I honestly think that Moxley can push Eddie Kingston to new heights, to new lengths, in a battle that between each other. I say have it for all in or all out. I mean, doesn't really matter
Either
to
or
me.
works.
So yeah, Chris Jericho embraces the Edmonton crowd and says it's a little bittersweet here for him. Over the last few weeks, he has had a bunch of losses and make a couple of he want and because of it, he wants to make a couple of changes. And that this is the best place for him in the province of Alberta. And this is where he started with Stu Hart, and people boo him. He's like, "You're really gonna boo the legendary Stu Hart?" Um, he had his first match around here and got here a couple days early just to go back past places and remember when he first started wrestling, when wrestling was everything to him and still is, and is resurrected and become the best Chris Jericho ever. And then out comes Don Callis. Well, where people start booing him. Says what he is hearing is you need a change. He says it was 6 years ago when Chris Jericho main evented the Tokyo Dome with Kenny Omega.
Yep.
And without
That
that
was a
match,
great
no one
match.
would be here without his idea. Chris Jericho
Yeah.
said he helped get Don Callis back into pro wrestling and into AEW. It says when Callis and Jericho are together, they make history. It says he needs to make a new family, and he thinks of Chris Jericho, and Don Callis is here to ask Chris if he would like to join the Don Callis family and join his faction, and says he doesn't join factions, he creates factions. But he did say maybe to join in the faction, so thoughts on that one? I'm thinking eventually Chris Jericho might join up with Don Callis here, because we'll talk about it forward, but it looks like maybe the Jericho Appreciation Society is no more. It'd be interesting to see what Chris Jericho does. Because if you think about it, I mean, he has created factions and not joined them. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see if he actually joins a faction. So Adam Cole and MJF face off against the Butcher and Matt Menard. Um,
Better than you, baby.
the Butcher and Matt Menard was really trying the most that they could, but Adam Cole and MJF, I think, are going to win this whole damn blind
Hmm.
eliminator tag team tournament. If get their chances against FTR or Bullet Club Gold, we never know. You never know, because the Bang Bang Gang could win the 2 out of 3 falls match Saturday.
Spoiler.
I know. So we'll never know. But yes, so they do beat the Butcher and the Blade, Butcher and Matt Menard to advance in the blind tag team eliminator tournament. And then JF asks if we have any devil worshippers. I don't know why he would ask that. Do we have any fans of Adam Cole? And then makes him do his thing. And then MJF says it would have been better if they hit the double clothesline. It says it should have done. They should have another bro session. Adam Cole says yes, and then MJF says happy birthday, who I share with, which I think that's awesome that I share a birthday with Adam Cole. Happy birthday, happy late birthday there, Adam Cole. I'm 28. I know he's 34. He's older than I am. Which And then out comes a cake for Adam Cole as they celebrate his birthday, and MJF sings happy birthday to Adam Cole. And MJF wants Adam Cole to make a wish. And Adam Cole pushes MJF's face in the cake, and Adam Cole says, good cake. And then Adam Cole says, thank you, my friend, for doing all of this for his birthday, which, I mean, I guess MJF didn't have to, but it's pretty cool that he did that for his birthday. You know, probably appreciate it, but it just seems weird between Adam Cole and MJF. It's working so far, but how well is it gonna work out for each other for them when it gets into that um, tag team title match? Are they gonna win them, or are they gonna lose them, or are they gonna lose that match and then have some dissension? I think they're gonna lose and have some dissension and lead into All In or All Out, where they're gonna face off for the world heavyweight championship. They could, you know what? I would like, I would like them to face off at All In, and CM Punk versus MJF to face the happen at All Out the week after. Book it, do it. Um, so like we were saying about Jericho Appreciation Society, Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara got teamed up in the Blind Eliminator Tag Team Tournament. Chris Jericho, um, is talking to them about how I can't always guide you forever. You got to go off and do your own. Go off and win the damn tag team titles on your own. Um, Thoughts on that one? Could Garcia and Guevara ever be able to do it on their own? Can they do it without the guidance of Chris Jericho?
I mean, I don't know so much about them, but I think all together, um, they, at least in terms of Garcia, I don't think
Hey,
that
just
he
remember
can.
they've won singles titles in their time in
Oh,
AEW
well,
slash
that's true
ROH.
too. Yeah, because
Can they do it as a
Daniel
tag
Garcia.
team?
Daniel Garcia won the pure title without, uh, well, even though technically he was still part of the. But honestly, that is the moment that you should have had Garcia be committed to like joining the Blackpool Combat Club.
I know, I agree.
Because then he would have been that fifth member instead of Pac.
Right. That's
Oh,
true.
that. Spoilers also, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Oh well.
Spoilers for next episode, by the way. Um, but honestly, yeah, I mean, I think Garcia and Guevara can do something, but I don't think they're going to win a blind eliminator tag team tournament. Um, and speaking of any kind of tournament, Ruby Soho and Britt Baker face off in the Owen Hart tournament.
Yeah.
Quarterfinal. And Ruby Soho actually gets the one up this time, but with a little help from the Outcasts. And she will face off against Sky Blue, which did happen on Wednesday. So we'll talk about that one. Kenny Omega, we get onto the main event. Kenny Omega and Wheeler Yuta.
Yeah.
What a great match between these two, man. I tell you what, if you want to talk about a wrestling match, that was a wrestling match. Of course, we are going to talk about a great match, and that is part of our episode 2, A Battle of the Ages commences on Collision. We'll talk about that one. That was a great tag team match between those two tag teams. I think that their next match for the tag team titles is going to be even better.
Spoiler alert.
Yes. Yeah. So Omega and Wheeler Yuta face off against each other, and Omega was just too much for Wheeler Yuta. And after the match, the Blackpool Combat Club beat Omega after the match. Then the rest of the Elite Even Odds. Then the Dark Order pulled the chair out. Thoughts? I want to know why the Dark Order is getting so involved in the Elite's business as of late.
Yeah, that is a good question. That is a good question.
Like, are these secretly parts of, like, the Blackpool Combat Club of Don Callis' family? Because I really want to know if that's truly the case. But it seems odd. I mean, they've been facing off on Rampage, which is crazy. Even though Rampage is not like it used to be, it's still decently watchable. I know we don't talk about it because of Collision. Collision is, that second show where you're going to have half of your roster being on there. But I tell you what, Rampage still has some decent matches to be able to talk about that is worth.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure this week for Rampage there's
Some tournament matches and whatnot, yes.
Yeah.
Or
is that on Collision?
I think it's kind of on both. It's on like Dynamite, Collision, Rampage. They're utilizing all their shows for it.
Yeah.
And then
a good thing.
And then of course you have Battle of the Belts too. So if you are a big fan of AEW, you have a lot of wrestling to watch. You got Dynamite on Wednesday, you got Rampage on Friday, you got Collision Saturday, and then you have Battle of the Belts.
Wrestling on Saturday night.
Yes. So it's going to be a nice week of.
All right for fighting.
Exactly. So Saturday, the whole entire week is going to be nice for AEW wrestling. But it's interesting to see about the Elite and BCC. Of course, we know about them facing off at in July 19th, the battle, Blood and Guts in a nice double-sided steel cage there.
War game.
Yeah. Blood and Guts.
So they can't officially call it war.
So we got to Collision as Ricky Starks faces off against Powerhouse Hobbs in a great back and forth contest. Powerhouse Hobbs trying to get on, Ricky Starks with the power bomb. QTV was trying to get involved.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Ricky Starks gets the victory on Powerhouse Hobbs as QT Marshall was on the ropes trying to, distract Ricky Starks, but it didn't happen. And then you know, or Powerhouse Hobbs had the roll up, but QT Marshall was
Mm-hmm.
on the ropes during the time. Then Ricky starts, I think, pushes Powerhouse into QT, and then gets a
Yeah.
spear, 1, 2, 3, and then um, Hobbs pushes QT Marshall because he's like, what are you doing? What are you on the rope for?
Mm-hmm.
And then gives Aaron Solo a spine buster. Is this a babyface turn for Powerhouse?
I think
I
so.
think so. I mean, because QTV has, you already got Johnny TV, you got the guys. You don't need Powerhouse Hobbs anymore. And it's sad what they're really doing with Powerhouse. They're really trying to turn him around and make him a mainstay on Collision, but like, I'm hoping that he's gonna have a good babyface run. I hope he's somebody that can be a utilized guy primarily on Collision. I get it, Collision is kind of here and there, but honestly, I think they got some great competitors on Collision to make it a worthy show to watch every single week.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, and honestly, I ever since its debut, it's been watchable, great content, and everything like that. It doesn't matter who's on it too. Um, so yeah, I think it's a babyface turn for Powerhouse Hobbs. It would be nice to see him turn face. I mean, I get it. He's probably better as a heel right now, but I think it's in a way a baby face turn for Powerhouse Hobbs. This one was a kind of a weird segment for Miro, but Miro apparently senses there will be a big battle coming. Thoughts?
Big
Is
battle
he
with who?
talking about? I wonder
Big
if he's.
battle with who?
I
His
feel
wife
like
in the bedroom?
his double jointed wife in the bedroom.
His
Um,
double jointed hot wife?
um, I really do think that it's somehow a title opportunity is what he's talking about, like a
Mm.
world title opportunity,
Not for
international
nothing. He should
TNT.
have had that right after he lost the TNT title.
So
He shouldn't have been lost in the shuffle for
I
like.
don't exactly know what kind of big battle is coming. I think in the way he's talking about is a title match of some sorts. That's all I can think about, everyone. If you think differently, just let us know in the comments below. Um, so yeah, Willow Nightingale is fortunately not medically cleared during Collision, but will face Athena on later tonight on
Mhm.
Rampage instead. Who do we think will win? I'm thinking Willow might just get the edge on Athena. I know Athena has been on a hot streak and have not lost as of late, but I think Willow Nightingale is gonna get the one up on Athena, and it's gonna lead into a ROH Women's World Championship match at Death Before
Yeah,
Dishonor. That's what I'm thinking.
and at that point, then I think you give Willow the ROH Women's World Title.
That would be cool. I would be all for that. I think
I mean, what better way to kind of
give her like a secondary champion women's championship
not
than the ROH.
well just a what better way to kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Not like backtrack or not like segue or but what better way to you know come off the heels of losing the New Japan Strong Women's title than going to Death Before Dishonor, challenging Athena, and then beating her.
Because that seems like what they were kind of like leading towards in this little thing between
Yeah,
them.
and I'm
So
pretty sure Daniel Garcia is going to be challenging Katsuyori Shibata at
yeah,
Death
the
Before
pure wrestling.
Dishonor
Oh
for
yeah,
the
of
pure
course.
title.
But I think it's just getting annoying that he's always after the pure wrestling championship. Like, there's no other title for him to go after than the freaking pure wrestling championship. Like, come on now.
I don't know, man.
Um, so this one we're just gonna talk about. Julia Hartbeat's a local talent. There's nothing really about much to talk about that.
Yeah,
Um,
I think her name is Piper Hall because I saw that she was competing against Layla Hirsch on ROH.
Probably.
So I think that's her name. Either way, doesn't matter. They didn't even bother to give her an entrance or an introduction. So
So
she's a
yes.
local talent. She was a jobber. Got jobbed out by Julia Hart. That's all that matters.
Right. So Malachi Black wants to show the world truly how good Andrade is, and
So is Andrade going to be joining the House of Black then? Is like that what
I have no
it's
idea.
like leading towards or
I
whatever?
think no. I think it's just still feud between them, and if even if he does somehow join, it's something. And then Andrade is in the back. That takes off his shades and says that the mask is all about the people, and when he takes it off, it's all about the fighting thoughts. Honestly, I think he might be truthful because I mean, wearing the mask is all about his
His culture.
Latino
Yeah,
culture and stuff like that. And when he
that's
takes
a
it off,
lucha
it's
libre
all about
tradition.
fighting. It's all about you know, yeah. I mean, he's already beaten two members of the House of Black already. I mean, I think that it's going to lead into a match between Malachi and Andrade. We've talked about it before. Okay,
Hmm.
sorry. Um, and I think that these two guys are going to have a battle of the ages on the Collision. I'm all for these two men facing off against each other. I think it's going to be a really good match. Who's to say it doesn't happen this Saturday? Could. We never know. Um, but honestly, Malachi, all Andrade wants is that mask back. That's what he's fighting for. He wants the mask back, and I think that is what you should do. Um, you know, whoever wins gets the mask, type of thing between these two men. So I think that's exactly what's going to be happening, and I think it's going to be a good match between them. No, if you want to talk about a hell of a great match, it's this one. The Bullet Club Gold
Oh
versus
yeah,
FTR tag team match, tag team
tag team
eliminator
eliminator.
match. Holy Christ, it lived up to the hype. These are two of the greatest tag teams on earth today between Bullet Club Gold and FTR. FTR just loves putting tag team wrestling on the map, and so does Bullet Club Gold. But I tell you what, these two teams just work so well together.
Yeah,
They are so organically good. Um, I don't think you can get anything better than these two teams. Um, and what better way to, say it that Juice Robinson and Jay White are the very first people to win an
yeah.
eliminator match. It's about time. Tony Khan has the opposing team actually being the victor here. And now we are going to get a 2 out of 3 falls
Yeah,
match later Saturday
yeah. Tomorrow.
for the tag team titles. And here's where I say that yeah, maybe you've won the battle, but you haven't won the war, Bullet Club Gold. And this is where I'm saying you are not gonna win the tag team title match. I hate to say it. Um, but then again, if it does end up being Bullet Club Gold, it was a good second run for FTR. It really was.
Yeah.
And I think that Bullet Club Gold's got what honestly I would like to have happen, and it's nothing like I don't want the Guns to be splitting off that soon, but what if like the Guns say like you got something that that we want, and it's those tag team titles because we are the best damn tag team in the So I can see it being something like that. Who knows? I mean, anything can really happen. But why? I just want to know. And I get CM Punk and Samoa Joe is the bigger story because it hasn't happened. They haven't faced each other in 18 years. But why the hell was this tag team match not the freaking main event?
Like I get your point, but yeah, like ultimately, like
You
that.
better.
Well, here's the
You
thing.
better. And
Here,
here's
no.
hearing this,
Here's the
Tony
thing.
Khan.
Here's the thing. Why did they have a match after this before
Yeah,
CM
they
Punk?
should have had
They
Scorpius
should
Guy
have had.
Nash and Andretti before Juice Robinson and Jay
Yes,
White. I agree.
this should have been like. Not that I would have like booked it that way, but you should have had it in a way be like a double main event where it's the tag title eliminator first,
Right.
then CM Punk versus Samoa Joe.
No, I agree. I think that's exactly how it should have been. I really do think that. Um, but yeah, it was a great match, and I think the 2 out of 3 falls matches should definitely be your main event of Collision.
Oh
I
yeah.
think it's going to be. It's going
It
to be one hell of a match. It's going to be. I think you should have it almost go to 60-minute time limit. I think it should be like a 45-minute match. Give it time, which means I don't. I'm not saying like rush through the other stuff, but definitely give that match time.
yeah.
Like you got to make it like you if you want Collision viewership to go up for that week, you definitely need to have that one as the main event and two have it as like a nice good match. Like it was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there was near fall after near fall after near fall for this match. You almost had a big rig, then you had um, Jay White trying to go for the Blade Runner, then it was reversed, then he actually did the Blade Runner, 1, 2, 3, got the win here. It was a great match, man, I
Well,
tell you.
I want to correct you on something first and foremost. You called it the big rig, even though that's what they've been calling it for a
I
good
know the
portion of
Shatter
the
Machine.
Shatter Machine.
Yes,
Yes,
I
so
know.
it is now officially called the Shatter Machine.
So we get into our next match. There wasn't really much action that was happening in here, and no pun intended.
Oh yeah.
um, but yes,
Well,
it was
there's
good.
not
It was
even really
nice
much
to
to
see.
talk
I
about.
know it was nice to see Scorpius guy back. He looked
Yeah,
like he bulked the hell up
yeah,
because beforehand he didn't like he was muscular already,
yeah.
but like he was kind of like
He
he
was a
he
little like,
he looks like he's been hitting that gym. And
yeah,
honestly, when you're not utilized for that long, I would too.
yeah.
But it was good to see Scorpius guy back as he gets a win against Action Andretti. Hey, why not? Why not? Start him back up again. A former 3-time TNT champion. I
Yep.
know we want to forget about those times
Yeah.
between him and
Him and
Sammy
Sammy.
Guevara flip flopping
Yeah.
the
Flip
title back
flopping the
and
title.
forth
Yeah.
like a fish out of water.
Yep.
But yes, unfortunately, he
Flopping more,
is.
flopping more times than Marcus Smart on a basketball court.
Ha! I like that. Which, by the way, flopping is now a technical foul and one free throw in the NBA with their new rules. So here's to you, Marcus Smart. You better stop flopping. Unless you want to cost the Grizzlies free throws and technical foul, that's all up to you.
I mean, he doesn't even play for Boston anymore, so.
So yes, we got into the main event, and this was a good match for what it was. I don't think it lived up to the hype as much as they were kind of having it go. I mean, don't get
Well,
me wrong, CM Punk and
yeah.
Samoa Joe definitely battled each other out there
Well,
for the main event.
the finish to me was the weirdest part. Like, that to me was like, that to me, like, the finish to me felt a little rushed because they had to, you know, they had to
So
make TV
if
time.
I think Marty, you explain it to us. What was the finish again?
So, CM Punk was in the Coquina clutch from Joe. Next thing you know, CM Punk shoots down. He counters out of it, goes for like a roll through pin, and Paul Turner counted the 3. And that's the finish. It was kind of like, wait, what?
Oh,
Like,
yeah. I was
okay.
I was kind of wondering like why that was to be the case anyway, because it was like, was that supposed to happen? Was it not supposed to happen? I think that
I
was
look at it
supposed.
this way: it was a good shock factor,
Yeah, it was.
but it still made you wonder, like, why did they decide to do that for the finish?
Right. True. But ultimately, yeah, CM Punk finally gets the win against Samoa Joe, as he's never beat him in his time in ROH, to advance it to the Owen Hart Tournament Finals, as he will face off against Ricky Starks. Um, Personally, as much as I would love to see Ricky Starks win the whole damn thing, I think you got to
I
give it to
think it's gonna
CM
be
Punk,
CM Punk.
which I've read that he is taking the role of being a locker room leader very seriously, and he's trying to right his wrongs, and I'm all for it. I think CM Punk is really taking it very seriously this time, not trying to burn any bridges.
which is a good
which
thing
is a good
because
thing.
I
Honestly,
mean,
I really do think I'm seeing a different CM Punk, and it's weird to see. I think it's because he knows this is he's burned so many bridges. He's at the last chance of his career for wrestling, so he kind of has to, you know, do what needs to be done of him and go out there and just wrestle and keep his mouth shut and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that's what he'll do is just go out there and wrestle and leave the talking to the ring in these matches because he can still go. I mean, he
oh
can
yeah,
still wrestle. I think that he's better in his second time in AEW than his first time right now. So I say I'm all for it. I think CM Punk can be that guy for Collision that can help Collision get off the ground. He's kind of like the CM Punk of AEW Collision. He's kind of like the one that's the locker room guy that's trying to help build it to being like a second, like a as good as Dynamite, like that
yeah,
secondary show that
yeah.
can be there with Dynamite. So I'm all for it. If he wants to be that locker room guy and take it to the next level, awesome. So yes, I was. I didn't really want to talk about it too much, but yes, I was there for Monday Night Raw in Buffalo, New York. Let me tell you something. I know I'm like hot crap for this, but just WWE is not my cup of tea. It was a very boring to get through 3 hours. Um, it was cool to see Drew McIntyre and Kevin Owens and Imperium and The Miz and Ciampa, which I didn't like the ending of that match. Um, uh, it was cool to see, Table being involved and all the other stuff, but that match could have just been so much better. Bronson Reed got involved and stuff like that. So, I mean, it was cool for what it was to see Cody Rhodes and sing a song and whatnot. And I will say this now. Seth Rollins, I do not like his gimmick. I really don't. Call me out on it all you want. But it was funny to read what he said. I don't know how true this is, but like it, he's like, I go, they would have had to make a secondary championship if Roman was just like me and was a fighting champion, which is very
Yeah, I did
true.
see that, and
Which
I
is
do agree with that.
very
Yes,
fucking true. That he would not have to be a
they
secondary
wouldn't have
champion
they wouldn't have
if
had
Roman
to
Reigns was
bring
not a part-time
a
competitor.
part-time champion, part-time guy in general. Yeah,
Somebody that's hardly defended the championship. Yeah, I agree with
yeah,
that. I 100% do. And I'm not going to go into full details about that. I've talked about WWE. I've talked about how Roman should have lost to Cody at WrestleMania. But I will say Seth Rollins is the most organically over babyface champion right now, and honestly, it makes a lot of sense that he's the world champion just because of how over his gimmick is and the theme song is and people
yeah.
chanting it. But let me tell you something. Um, Priest should not be your Mr. Money in the Bank. It should be Mr. L.A. Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he is so over. People love L.A.
Yeah.
Knight. I've liked him since his days in Impact. I think he should be your Mr. Money in the Bank, to be honest with you. I get Priest is that bigger guy, and Vince loves the bigger, muscular, taller
Yeah.
guys. We all know he does. And it wouldn't shock me if he ends up being your next World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah.
Um,
But like, so what I will, the only thing I will add to that about LA Knight should have been Mr. Money in the Bank, and that's not an insult. That is just a fact of life,
dummy.
dummy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right, but this is going to conclude this episode. Please make sure to follow us on social media at Tinkle Sports. Our channel is over there in the bottom left corner, Tinkle Sports Entertainment. And of course, no final bell on the bottom right over there. Typically every Wednesday at 5, unless we have something else going on. So please make sure to follow us to watch our content on there, as we don't just have no final bell. We have Out of Turn 4 every Tuesday at 5 typically, and then Sunday Morning Tinkle is on hiatus, but we'll be coming back. I think August 27th, I think. is when it's going to be coming back, and we're going to be doing
Our fantasy draft.
well, we'll be
Or is that
having a
before?
fantasy draft, but
Okay.
we're not going to be filming it live. We're going to be just discussing you know pre it'll be last preseason. We'll be talking about predictions for the season, who our division leaders are, who is our Super Bowl, you know, team, the teams that are going to be facing a Super Bowl or Super Bowl winner, how these teams will do, new people on new teams, new coaches, and whatnot. So we'll talk about that when it comes out. But as always, we'll catch you in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.